me here for a second. So, hi everybody. This is Heather from the Chronicles of Mama Mac, and I'm coming to you live today in presentation with the Collingwood Public Library to give you the opportunity to view a community healing circle. We have been doing these circles now for a few months. We started them in January of 2019. It was a idea that I had to bring forth a connection tool to the community. And very, very graciously, Lori Crossan, who we should be seeing here maybe shortly. I know she's on there. I can see her, but maybe you guys can't see her. And I went to her and approached her, and she very graciously said, yes, come on in. We're doing, different presentations around culture, wellness, and well-being, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. So the first couple of introductions that I had with the Collingwood Public Library was about stepping forth and just creating a conversation around wellness, around owning our own life and our own power, and really truly stepping into all that is around us and that we can pull into. So I am very, very grateful to be here, many months after and offering these circles. I do wish that I could see you all in person and be with you all, but unfortunately that can't happen. It makes me sad, but it is what it is. At least we get this opportunity to do this. So while I fumble here a little bit with the sharing of the screen, Lori, can you hear me? Oh, and we've got somebody coming in right now. Hello. And so, Lori, if you can hear me, you're on mute currently, and I can't see your face. If you would like to pop in here and say a couple words on behalf of the library, that would be great. If you want to be silent, you can be that too. Hold on, I've got a chat going on here too. I encourage you through this adventure with us to definitely, let me just look. Oh, my computer, I tell you, it is being so silly here today. I encourage you to really, truly conversate with us inside of the chat and participate, because I like to hear your comments. I'm going to hope that this is going to work because it is being very difficult. I planned all these things and it was supposed to be so good and you could see all these visual amazing things, and boom, there it is. It's not happening. It seems to have a issue with Canva and creating. So let's go back to we won't share the screen. We'll just go back to the Zoom. And Lori, can you hear me? Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Now I can't see anybody. Gotta love technology. Present. If you guys can see what is presenting on my screen right now in the chat, can you just drop me a little note to let me know that, yes, you can see it, you can hear it, and you're seeing what I'm seeing. And we've got, okay, there we go. Here we go. Sorry, I have to do this the old-fashioned way. So we have, let me see. I can see the photos. Perfect. Okay. Hello, I can see the shared screen. My mic isn't working. That's okay. You know what? Lori is having a little bit of issues with her microphone, but she is sending out wishes to say hello, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome to the Soul to Soul Community Circle here with the Collingwood Public Library and me, Coach Heather from the Chronicles of Mama Mac. I'm going to try and align all this so that I can see what's happening and be able to communicate with each and every one of you while we're going on. So let me move that out of the way. I'm going to ask that if something resonates with you here while we're going through this circle, and you want to share, to please drop a comment in the chat. I will be watching that, and I will be sure to address that. There is even probably a hand button. If you have a question that you would like to ask, press that hand, and that will prompt me to find the question and be able to help you. I do apologize in advance. I'm a little stuffy today. I have a sinus issue going on, and it's definitely playing havoc, but it will keep me down. So, first and foremost, who am I? I'm going to go there. So my name is Heather McIntyre, and I'm an Indigenous life and wellness coach who's dedicated to creating space for individuals to find healing, expansion, and growth. In the corner there, you can take a look at some of the workshops that I have done, both in community with the library and out in the public. I take great pride in finding opportunities to really help people to stretch, to grow, and to really reach into the highest version of themselves. That is such a powerful place to be in, and and it is so important. Lori just brought up a really important message in the chat here today. Now, what she's saying is, thank you for joining us, everyone, on this First Nations Week here at the Collingwood Public Library. That's another reason why I'm so blessed to be here with each and every one of you today, is because Lori and the Public Library have really given me the opportunity in this last year to fully, truly empower and speak my voice as an Indigenous person. For those of you who don't know, it's been a long journey to get me here to where I am today, in talking about my Indigenous culture, to be connected to my Indigenous roots, and to really truly heal the generational trauma that's happened in my life cycle, that kept me from being able to own this beautiful part of myself that is Indigenous, that is connection, and that allows me to be my most authentic self. So, Collingwood Public Library, thank you so much for your groundbreaking work in really truly giving voice to culture and diversity and connection. I so appreciate that, Miigwech. What else is she saying here? It's a great opportunity, of course, to have Heather as our guide to lead us through these uncertain times. And then she's also saying this will be recorded and available through the library or through us. So I will be posting it later on for you to access and have the link. She is so very right. You know what? We are all in a time and a place right now where things are very uncertain. And it's really important to me today, whenever I was going through everything, to find a topic that would literally land in, to kind of give us some awareness, some understanding, and some direction as we step forward into these next few months. You know what? There's no denying, we're into a new season. The days are getting shorter. It's darker. We don't have as many as of those feel good situations and experiences that keep us lifted and powerful and positive. Add into that we are in the middle of history breaking, and we're going to speak to this later too, circumstances and situations with the coronavirus pandemic, that our life as we know it has literally been shifted on its axle, thrown out the door, and ripped right back again. If many of you are out there this past year and finding yourself in places of feeling disconnected, disjointed, untethered, just wired in a whole new way and not really knowing how to deal with it, you're not alone. I'm going to speak to this inside of our conversation today, because I think it's an important conversation to have, to give you the knowledge and the background of what's happening, why it's happening as a result of all of this outside influence, and how it's shaking us and molding us. There is always light and dark and good and bad in our worlds and in our lives. but we always have an opportunity to drive the direction to get us there. So this month's focus, of course, is on personal power and how to claim that. What I want to do, I've written lots of notes today, so bear with me here. But what I want to do today, first and foremost, what I do with all of my circles is open up this sacred space for each and every one of us that you have been so kind to join me at, by offering sacred medicine and literally just connecting on a soul's level to each and every one of you, to the power of the medicine of the wheel, to the power of the medicine of the sacred smoke that I'm going to use. My go-to favorite is always sage. But you can also use Palo Santo. I also have that here as well too. But today we're going to use sage. Why do I use sage? Because sage for me is a massive, massive grounding tool. It is a protection tool. It is a communication opener, and it is a medicine that has such healing properties, because not only does it open up our throats and our hearts and our bodies to receive what we need to today, it also surrounds us with the protection and the light that we are guided. We are always gifted and protected, and there is higher thoughts, protection, and guides that are always with us. So, what I'd like you to do right now, as I light this sacred smoke, and I might sneeze, is to just close your eyes, okay? Take a couple deep breaths and listen to my voice. And I'm hoping that you guys can all hear my voice. Okay, Lori said that you were, so thumbs up. So taking that deep breath in, hello Anani, hello to Creator, Grandfather Moon, or Grandmother Moon, Grandfather Sky, Mother Earth, our ancestors, our guides, and our guardians. We ask you for your continuous blessings of peace and safety and connection, in abundance in all the things in our lives. We take this sacred smoke and we put it over our heads so that we may think clearly and find the appropriate decisions and thought processes for us to really truly step into our own. We ask that the sacred smoke clear our eyes so that we can see with clarity and wisdom, to clear out our ears so that we can hear with a loving heart of compassion and kindness, and an ability to really truly hear what is meant for us. We ask that sacred smoke clear out our throat area so that we can speak our truths from a positive and powerful place. And then we ask the sacred smoke to fully inhabit our heart area, allowing us to really truly open up to the expansion, the love, and the connection that is always around us, regardless of how we may be feeling at one time. Right now, we just moved into the west direction of the medicine wheel. And that west direction of the medicine wheel is sacred buffalo medicine. Whenever you think of a buffalo, what comes to mind? I know for me, I think of power, I think of respect, I think of gathering, because buffaloes gather in herds, and I think of gratitude and a promise of what is yet to come, and also a gratitude and deep, deep thanks for what we've already had, what we've brought into fruition, what we have been called into action to do. So we welcome the energy and the blessings of that buffalo medicine. And that buffalo medicine will actually it is representative of the autumn cycle, as well as the adulthood feelings and presence of the medicine wheel. So it's about dreams, it's about prayers and meditation. So it's really cool that we're doing this here today. It's about perseverance when being challenged, and how fitting is that in this world right now? It's about the balance between being passionately loyal and having spiritual insight. So it's a fine line to walk, but it is a line that we have to walk, using our personal objects and our sacred objects to find the connection, the power, and the safety that we're reaching out for to others for, and understanding our life's meaning. What's our purpose? What is really truly speaking and calling to us on a soul level? So this is also a great time that you can do some fasting to get your body back in line, your spirit and your connection, ceremony, really get to know and have the self-knowledge and the vision of who you are. Root into all that you have created in these last few months. In this world that we have lived in the last few months, let's just take a breath on that for a minute, because it has definitely been an interesting experience. Um, we've been called to action in places that we would never ever imagine before. We have literally sat in a place of unknown uncertainty and fear. Um, the question that I ask you today is, how do you relate to this in your life right now? Do you see what you're learning from the world? And what, if anything, are the emotions that you're processing? And we're going to dig into this a little bit more here. So this month's focus, as we mentioned, is celebrating National in First Nations Week, as well as finding our own personal power and how to claim that. As an Indigenous person, our whole cultural connection and being is about cycles, about honoring and being truthful and open to learning and growing and stretching. And it all is in that medicine wheel circular pattern. So what happens whenever we get into situations where we experience different things, that connection gets broken. It gets frayed. There's a ripple that occurs, and then we fall away from that divine place of that inner knowing that we got this, we can do this. Yes, it might be tough, but in each and every one of us, there is this superpower that is just begging to be heard, asking to be witnessed. And that's what we're going to work on today. So let me just click to the next slide. So as you can see, what's in store for you today, we've just done our Indigenous blessing and offering, and asking that our ancestors, our creators, our guides, and our souls align for us to really truly step into our own personal power, to give love to the places that are calling for it, and to honor the process, no matter where we are in it, of being uniquely human. We are going to dive really, really deeply into how we relate to the world, how we relate to our cycles, and how we relate to our personal stories in life. So we'll learn a little bit about the many different things that can happen, and you can kind of maybe get some clarity on which one you are. So how does that feel for everybody out there? If you could just drop me a little, yay, feeling it, a heart, whatever it is, just to let me know that you're still there and with me, then that would be great. So let's just go on over here. Yes, okay, perfect. So that's so good. You know, what we're going to learn today too very much is awesome, thank you. And so what we're going to learn today is how we can cultivate our superpower to deeply root it into the world, and we can change the dance and with the power of intention. So we're going to do a fun little exercise a little bit later on, and we're going to get a little deep, so just stay with me. I promise not to take you too far, but I do promise you that when we're done all this, you're going to have a firm understanding and an acknowledgement and sense of exactly who you are and exactly who you want to be as we move forward in the world. So, my question to you right now, and this is just a question I'm going to throw out. If you had, just off the top of your head, a special superpower right now that you could fully call and claim as your own, something that would speak to the true essence of you, what would that superpower be in one word? Think about that for a minute. Your word that describes your present state. I want you to load that up right now, okay? Because this is going to become our action anchor that we're going to carry forward here over the next little bit. If you have a word already, or if you're thinking of something that is your superpower or a superpower that you want to reach for, drop it in the chat for me here. I want to explain a little bit of this past, few months for me. And this last few months for me has been one of great pain and great expansion all in one. And I say that because, I was really truly called quite quickly in late February to rise up to a situation that I literally couldn't control. And then, as I grappled with that, um, okay, I can do this. I can do this. We can do this. Yep, this is okay. This is not the end of the world. Awesome. Giving health and happiness superhero. Yes. Yes. I really don't feel a superpower. I understand that. And I know you, and I know that if I was to describe you, I would be saying that your superpower is your heart, because you are so caring and compassionate, Miss Ham. And that would be my superpower that I would say that is yours. So that's okay. Just sit right here and let's go through this, because maybe by the end you will find a superpower. But Lori, absolutely, giving health and happiness superhero. I love it. That is awesome. Um, you know, these are all the reason I'm asking you these questions is we want to start to offset the wobbly scale that's happening right now in the world. And that scale in the world is because we've literally cracked under the pressure of the weight of what's going on. Not only is Corona happening, but our own lives somehow will blow up. Changes happen and things are no longer what they were. As we approach Thanksgiving this weekend, a lot of us are being faced with how do we let go of that want and desire to gather with family, knowing full well that it might not be safe. We're in this internal struggle of how do I show people that I love them and be connected to them if I can't physically be with them. Because a lot of us have been impacted, which I'm going to talk to here very shortly, with situations that have caused us to load up and create habits and beliefs that are wrong. And whenever we get put in these situations where we're tested, we automatically fall back to everything that we've known. So, when we're forced to change so drastically during these times of overwhelm, we crack under pressure and we go back into that negative loop of the last, I'm going to call it negative process that we had to work through. So, first and foremost, I want to remind each and every one that we're doing a really good job. We are here, we are well, we have our family around us, we're learning, and we're moving. Okay? So, when we get destabilized, like what I just talked about happening in all of this, we tend to react by having these things happen. We get sad, we feel guilt, we break down. And as we work through an accumulation of these disempowered reactions, it causes us to become really, really tired. Is anybody out there feeling like that right now? Are you feeling tired? Feeling like, no matter what you do, things are just not working in your favor? You can share that in the field. I'm going to keep, or in the chat, I'm going to keep going. What happens whenever we enter into this state? We get tired, and our healthy habits. Yes, yeah, I understand that tiredness 100%. When we fall into that, our healthy habits fall apart. We break them. We find ourselves sacrificing our self-care. We put everybody else's needs above our own, and we do everything in our power to make up or give over all that we have to make the whole world around us feel better. We sacrifice sleep. We binge on things. We fall back into patterns of overeating and watching Netflix and maybe drinking. I mean, I know quite a few of my friends, I'm not a drinker, but quite a few of my friends, I mean, they said, I consumed more alcohol in the last 9 months than I have in 10 years. And it's because we were triggered. We were literally destabilized in all of our essential core needs. And so, yeah, some days feeling tired, but also not sleeping some nights, understandable. And when we're not having that opportunity to be able to sleep and to really, truly recharge and rebalance, it just amplifies all of this stuff that's going on. So, we might be having feelings that, we're sacrificing our sleep. We're needing help, but we don't know how to ask for it. We are craving alone time, but we never ever create the space for it. We might create a space between romantic intimacy and connection with our partners, friends, and everything else. And then add to that the pandemic where you can't meet with people, and that just amplifies that whole thing. So sacrifices are made to grow, stretch, and learn, become better, wiser. And we turn into these people when all that stuff is taken away from us into self-sacrifice. And then we literally disappear. We disappear into ourselves. Like I said, we either, binge on TV, food, exercise, relationship, whatever it is. We fall into all of those traps that have been in our past for many times before. Does anybody feel that way or have felt that way throughout this time? And if so, what was the big thing that kept you stuck, trapped up, or really triggered for you? I'm just going to move this out of the way. So yes, we're going to move to the next slide here. So the trouble is, when we fall into these situations, the more that we do this, the more negative thought patterns take over. And these thought patterns such as, it's all up to me, my world is falling apart and it's all my fault, nothing I do is good enough, I'm exhausted, but if I stop or slow down, I'll let people down, I'm not enough, I'll never be enough, it has always been this way. And we tend to globalize and catastrophize things. Why, we beat ourselves up with, the guilt of, why are we just not grateful for what we have or already have? Why do we have to have more? Why are you feeling this way? You shouldn't be feeling this way. Just be grateful. Maybe you're feeling, I'm just so ugly right now. I can't get anything right. I don't deserve happiness. I'm broken. I don't belong. I never get to rest, and I'll never get to have what I want. Has anybody experienced any of those feelings? This kind of negative dialogue that can play out whenever we are under such pressure and our habits and beliefs are tripped up. What's happening in the world right now is that the world is in crisis, and we're faced with an unknowing and an opportunity to create history or to stand silently for the next world to predict what happens. Where are you in the world right now? Have you lost your spark or your light because the outside beliefs that I just talked about, or your own personal story that maybe you just resonated with there, or those stories told to you by yourself or others, are creeping in all the time? Right now, more than ever, we're seeing the beliefs of the outside world heavily weighing in on the stories that we're living. And in the truth of all of it, there's a toxic emotional overload that's taxing our system. It's breaking down our spirits. It's creating that disconnect in that circle of life, that connection. And in some cases, it's creating illness from the stress and the overwhelm of it all. Yeah? What are your beliefs? Or what are beliefs? Let's dive into that. Let's not go to your beliefs just yet. What are beliefs? They are hidden scripts that run our lives. They can actually heal you, or they can harm you. They can support you, or they can ambush you. They are the primary source of entrapment or freedom. And it does not matter what is true at this point. What is that doing? Oh, because we started late. If we get bumped out here, yeah, okay, I'm gonna keep going. If we happen to get bumped out of this, everybody just come back into the meeting and we'll finish things up. So just log back into the same link. This happened to us before. It doesn't matter what is true at this point. It matters what you believe is true. So take a breath and let that land for a minute. It does not matter what is true at this point. It matters what you believe is true. So over the years, I've experienced several situations, and I've coached many people over the last few years where I've heard some of these common negative thought loops that come out. Let me know in the chat if anything lands with you here. So maybe you've heard or even thought this in the past. I'm not good enough to be successful. I'm not valuable enough or valuable to, or don't have anything valuable to offer. I can't handle it all. I'm just too overwhelmed. I'm not good enough for this career, for this relationship. I am a failure because I don't have what I need to provide what I want in this world. I feel greedy. People won't hear me. They don't hear me. I don't have anything good to say. I'm not doing enough fast enough. Now, notice when you're running these particular loops that we start to believe that life is happening for us. Or sorry, that life is happening to us. It's not happening for us. So, if life is happening to us, then it pushes us into what we call the have-to victimhood. So I have to have things perfect all the time in order to be successful. I'm not a pro, so I can't do that. I have to look like I have it all together, or nobody's going to ever understand me. I have to lose 25 pounds right now in order to be accepted. I had to learn to relax and meditate more in order to be able to be the person that I need to be for my family and friends. I had to know everything about everything before I speak to it. Otherwise, I'm a fraud. Have to means that we are not a choice, that we are living from obligation. Is this an empowering or a disempowering statement? What do you think it is? Empowering statement, lifting you up, or a disempowering statement, tearing you down? Lori wrote, agreeing, now trying to get back to a routine. Yes, like out for a hike, yet other days are short, overwhelmed at times. I can relate to this. Yeah, you know, a lot of us have. I have been on and off my wellness rodeo bike for 9 months now. I've put myself on the calendar and I have pushed that woman right off. And then I go into this place, this loop of, oh my God, what did you do? You can't. It's just it's a spiraling circle. And this is why it was so important for me to share this stuff with you today, because I think a lot of us are feeling this way. And I want you to know that we can move past this. And to understand the why of where we are. What you're saying is resonating. That's awesome. Thank you. So back to the whole, statement I just made. Have to means that we're not a choice, that we're living from obligation and not actually living. What's worse is all of our obligations feel urgent, which shifts us into that life of proverbial stress and anxiety loop, overwhelm, fearful, pain. We immediately go to a loss of waiting for that next big sucker punch to come along and to knock us on our keister, and we won't know how to solve anything and everything. And then we're taxed, we're stressed, we're flexed, and we immediately go to all those things that are less than for us. So do you see how you can become so disempowered by the negative loops running in your lives that you lose sight of the beauty that's right there? So do you see how, or sorry, what do you feel, or what do you think, or what do you suppose is most beautiful in your life? Maybe you're thinking, wasn't life supposed to be more beautiful? Have you experienced a hunch even in this last year that should have been so much bigger and so much better and brighter, and it didn't happen? Here's something that I know to be true, and that there is no bigger burden to a child than the unlived life of a parent. I've been lost before. I have been trapped in the pressure, the overwhelm, the pain, the fear, the anxiety. And I knew that over this last 9 months, through it all, I was slipping into that again. I came by this naturally. The reason I brought up the statement, here's something I know about the burden to a child, is because that was my story loop. That was what I took on. I've built my life around just trying to make the world a better place for others from a negative place. And it took breaking down and breaking through to show me that this is a beautiful quality to have and something to really, truly strive for. But I needed to shift the dialogue, the compass, the direction of where this was coming from. So I needed to really, truly start to nurture myself and replace those negative loops with my own acceptance loops to change my story. I don't know if you've ever heard this phrase before. It makes me laugh every time I hear about it, but it's called martyrdom. And martyrdom is really, truly overrated in this world. It will drive you absolutely mad. And it is our willingness to sacrifice everyone else but never ourselves. So when we model martyrdom to our kids, they inherit martyrdom. Is this a true statement? I think it is. If we teach them the epitome of love is to bury oneself, then they will learn to bury themselves. We are literally teaching them to love means to disappear ourselves. You might be asking, why am I bringing in children to all of this? Well, I'm going to get there. But I think that if you think for just a moment, we were all children once. And maybe this is a little seed of why and what. Again, if we teach them if we teach them the epitome of life is to bury oneself, then they will learn to bury themselves. We are literally teaching them to love means to disappear ourselves. But the truth is actually the opposite. To love is to merge, to give oneself permission to become our truest, unapologetic, radiant, and authentic self. Listen, this is saying it's going to go off in 1 minute. And if it does, everybody just log off and log back on, okay? Because we're not done yet. The good parts are coming up. So what children need from us as parents is to give them permission to fully love. Then they will live fully because they have been taught and will see and allow themselves to live. Makes sense, doesn't it?